Another record-breaking month, two in a row. Are we really surprised at this point? Average Canadian home prices soared 18% in past year, Korea says. Last month was the busiest August for home sales ever. So it looks like we're continuing the trend from July, again a record-breaking July, into a record-breaking August. Now, it isn't really surprising that this occurred, given well, I mean, depending on what your beliefs are in terms of why we had a record-breaking July, but we would have still seen a lot of the people that couldn't buy what's referred to as pent-up demand being expressed. Now they have the opportunity to purchase, and also you're adding that onto the people that would naturally buy in that time, anyways. So yeah, we're getting this record-breaking activity, and it's what, but I mean, is it expected to go on for indefinitely? When do we think that this activity is going to slow down? Well, let's take a look. Canada's housing market continued its improbable run in August, as average prices jumped by almost 20% from where they were a year earlier, and the number of homes sold shattered the monthly record. The Canadian Real Estate Association, which represents more than 130,000 realtors across the country, said Tuesday that 58,645 homes were sold during the month, which is 33% more than changed hands in the same month last year. It's just insane. It's also more than 6% more than the number of homes that sold in July, which was itself a record for the month. So August is typically not a very busy month for home sales. Normally, the market starts off the year slowly in the cold winter months before spiking in spring, cooling down through the summer months, and it gets ice cold again towards the end of the year. So August, we would start to see it slowing down. But what we're seeing is, or what the idea is, that everything has been delayed a few months, so that hot market that we would normally expect during the spring was cooled down because of the lockdown, right? There was no activity. So but the 2020 has thrown those seasonal trends out the window as lockdowns in March and April delayed a lot of home purchases and pushed the buying season until later in the year. Even the global pandemic that at last count had wiped out more than 1 million jobs from the Canada's labor market. Last month was the sixth busiest month on record for home sales and the busiest August ever. So I mean, it seems like contradictory information, right? Like how can we have a record-breaking month for housing sales or home sales, and also have 1 million jobs wiped out from the Canada's labor market? That's the question is whose jobs were lost, right? Because that most likely wouldn't be equally distributed across the job market, the labor market, right? Certain jobs would be affected to a larger degree or a larger extent than other jobs, right? So if that's the case, then if a lot of the middle market, upper middle market jobs, or middle income, upper middle income jobs were not unaffected, then a lot of the housing movement would be unaffected. It would just be delayed, right? So even though 1 million jobs is a lot, it just depends whose jobs were lost, right? Change in average house price since August 2019. The chart below shows a change in the average home in 12 months up to August 2020. Yeah, these look at the pricing changes. Ontario, 23%. PEI, really? Okay, that was surprising. Even Alberta's moving up. Yeah, prices skyrocketed too. Yeah, the average price of a Canadian home that was sold last month was 586,000. That's up 18.5% for the same month last year. Again, keep in mind that that's across Canada, so not just in the major areas like GTA or the Greater Vancouver area. Um, Korea says the average price can be misleading because big sales in expensive markets like Toronto and Vancouver can skew the number. Exactly. So indeed, if two cities are stripped out, the average drops to 464,000. If the entire provinces of BC and Ontario are stripped out, Montreal topped the rest of the country at 493,824 dollars, and Calgary was just behind at $469,883. No other city had an average selling price above 400,000. So just keep that in mind. There are certain areas that significantly skew the home prices in Canada. Because if you think, like, there's a lot of areas in Canada that are just very sparsely populated. When you compare them to like the major cities, there's a lot of, I don't want to say empty space, but it's just not. There's a lot of areas that don't have a lot of demand in Canada, so that's why people tend to congregate in certain areas where there's a lot of access to jobs and such. So the HPI, oh sorry, because of the outsized influence of those big expensive markets on the national average, Korea calculates another figure known as the House Price Index, which the group says it is a better gauge of the market because it adjusts for the volume and type of housing across markets. The HPI rose by 9.4% in August. That's the biggest annual leap since 2017. A lot of cheap money in the market as well. So it has been a record-setting summer in many housing markets across Canada as realtors and their clients play catch-up following the loss of so much of the 2020 spring market. Korea Chair Costa Palopoulos said in a news release, it really does seem that the spring market shifted in the summer. Economists doubt that torrid pace can last. Well, yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of crazy. Like, it'll get to a place when, because really everything's fueled by affordability, right? So if it gets to a point where it's no longer affordable, then you're not going to get the speed of the market. The market's not going to move at the same speed that it has been moving at. But also you're getting people moving into different markets. Like Ottawa, Barrie, they're having a crazy time right now. So and then Montreal as well. So TD Bank economist Brian DePrato says the numbers suggest that the market continues to defy gravity any way you slice them, but he wonders how long it can last. While the lack of spring market has been an important factor behind the unseasonably strong summer as of August, the level of sales activity is now in line with historic norms, suggesting that much of this pent-up demand has been satisfied, he said. Despite sales plummeting to the lowest levels in decades during those early months of lockdown for 2020, as a whole, so far 341,463 homes have changed owners uh, through the first 8 months of the year. That's 0.8% ahead of sales pace for this time last year. So while Canadian housing markets have made a habit of mocking them in the past, the fundamentals augur for at least a partial retrenchment of sales activity over the remainder of the year. Bank of Montreal economist Sal Guertieri noted that despite new listings increasing at a faster pace than sales for the same first time since the pandemic, the sales to listing ratio is still at its tightest level in 15 years, which he calls a recipe for higher prices. So it really, so I guess what we're really taking a look at here is things are just moving at a faster pace, but still keeping up with the average over time. But he too is doubtful that the booming market can last. It's looking like pent-up demand is just about running its course, and we'll see where underlying sales settle. Some areas of the country will probably stay quite hot, others not. Yeah, it looks like things are just kind of flattening out. They're just kind of returning to the mean, more or less, when it comes to its general trends, right? So, anyways, so let me know what you think. When do you think these hot markets are going to peter off? Obviously, it's not going to be able to continue the continuous record-breaking pace indefinitely into the future. But also, given all the cliffs that we're potentially facing, I think we definitely have a hard stop for the market in December. But I mean, everybody can make a prediction. It's foolish to do it, but it's fun to kind of just take a stab at these things. Anyways, so let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think it's going to last into indefinitely into the future, or what month do you think is going to start pulling? Are we going to start to see a pullback? All right. Well, thanks for watching, and yeah, you have yourself a great rest of your day. And if you like, oh yeah, if you like any of this content, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. All right. Have a good day.